I, 23 female, have an Irish twin, 24 female. We've been living together for 2 years. She's a single mom of a toddler. When we first moved in together, the apartment was only in her name, and she let me live with her. I was finishing dental assisting school and couldn't qualify for an apartment alone. I still paid half the rent and utilities. After graduating and getting a job, I became an officially added roommate to the lease last year. I make a lot of money for my age, so when my sister struggled to pay half of the rent when her job cut her hours significantly, it was a no-brainer to start paying more. I could easily afford all the rent, so covering another 25% was nothing. Plus, I love her and my niece. My sister has no help from the father, so I help her as much as possible. He works under the table, so he doesn't get his wages garnished for child support. I've watched her struggle to afford daycare and food for her baby, so I also help with that. 2 days ago, my sister set me down and told me she had news. She's pregnant. My jaw dropped. I asked who the dad was, and she starts crying. I didn't expect her to say her deadbeat baby daddy. I was shocked, and she continued her explanation. She saw a girl commenting under his post and went on her page and saw that they had taken pictures at the same place at the same time. The girl also posted him for his birthday weeks later, saying happy birthday to my fiance. She messaged her, letting her know he was a deadbeat, and got blocked. Then her baby daddy called her, saying she was a crazy witch, leading them to getting a hotel room. They slept with each other, all to prove some point to his fiance that he wasn't loyal and she could have him whenever she wanted, because she sent her proof after they slept together, but the fiancé stayed with him. As she's telling me this story, I just sit there upset. I started asking her if she went to the doctor and how far along she is. She said she did stop by PP and got a scan. She's 9 weeks. I told my sister that I wasn't going to be re-signing the lease unless she got a termination. She looked at me with so much disgust and started crying harder. She called me an evil witch and said I was a horrible person for making her choose between her baby and having housing. I told her that with her hours now, she can't even afford even half the rent, let alone the daycare she splits between me, our dad, and aunt, to understand the position she's putting me in, since the responsibility is falling on me. She told our family and they're angry, saying I'm being heartless even to ask her, and that I shouldn't punish her, and that I should sign at least 6 months so she can get her act together, since 5 weeks isn't a lot of time. I said no, she's ungrateful for all the help I've given her, so I'm out. They're saying I'm an idiot, since when I didn't qualify, she let me live with her, even though I paid half. Not the idiot. I hate when family tries to spend other family members' money. Tell your family they can go co-sign for your sister and pitch in on rent, since they're so adamant about it. You aren't forcing your sister to get a termination. You just aren't going to live with her if she has another kid. The kids are not your responsibility, and you should not have to care for them. She slept with him to prove a point to his fiancé? That's why she's a single mother twice, by the same lame, lousy, absent baby daddy. Deadbeat dad's future wife should know that they'll get it out of her wages if he cannot afford child support. When they get married, the court considers the household income so that she'll be on the hook for both kids. Good point. Sister thinks getting knocked up again by an absent father proves a point. She can get a deadbeat fiancé anytime she wants, and now she's a single mother of 2. At this point, I don't sympathize with her because she wants to suffer and make her kids suffer too. She didn't have to do any of that insane and possibly stupid crap, and now she's mad no one's supporting the result of her whack decisions. No one told her to do any of that. Like, come on, man. OP, run. Do not walk. She's never going to learn, and it's not your responsibility to support her crazy level of stupidity. Update. Our dad and stepmom have young kids, so there's no space. Plus, he pays a third of the daycare, split between me, my aunt, and him. Said aunt lives in a different state, so she can't physically help, but is the main one telling me I'm disgusting. I suggested that my sister move in with my aunt, and she shot it down, saying moving while pregnant is rough. The school district in our town is much better than our aunt's, who lives in a big city. We have different moms. Her mom is a deadbeat and remarried in a different state. And my mom thinks I should have moved out a long time ago. So my child is 3 grades ahead of my sister's kid. I'm going to call the teacher Miss Cat. Now, personally, I don't really like her, but I do respect her. She's a very no-nonsense woman, and she'll ensure you learn. She's had the highest test scores for years. She is unequivocal in her expectations of parents, and that she won't put up with our crap. I'm ashamed to admit that I sent her a whole list of questions about her class, and she sent back the PDF of her handbook that I already had and told me to read. Every question I had was answered in the first few pages. There were other stories about her, but she is a no-nonsense teacher and doesn't care about the parents' feelings. She taught my daughter extremely well. Now, there's a project where you make a model of some Native American group's home and write a small paper about it. Well, my brother-in-law did the whole project. Miss Cat made a quiz about the paper that was written and gave it to his son. Well, his son failed it and admitted he didn't do it. I saw the email that was sent and in a very professional way, ripped my brother-in-law a new one. His son got a 0 and can redo the project at school. Brother-in-law went in person and, according to him, got ripped a new one. He was complaining and going to take it to the principal, and I started laughing. I told him this was hilarious, and I hope he learned his lesson. He's now angry at me. Not the idiot. Some parents complain when he cheats for their son and is caught, and his son has to pay the price, except he can redo in school. Was your brother-in-law more upset he was caught or that he got a 0? He needs to apologize to the school and have his son with him so his son can see that cheating is not allowed and even an adult must accept punishment and do it with grace. I think he's mad that she ripped him a new one and truly didn't care about his feelings, or he got mad he was caught. Helping your kid with a project is one thing, but doing the whole thing is way over the line. He's hurting his kid's education, and the teacher called him out for it. Good for her. What is he going to say to the principal? I did my son's project. He didn't learn anything as he was supposed to do it himself, and the teacher was mean to me. That's hilarious. Good for the teacher for allowing the child to redo the project. His father's dishonesty is not his fault. I, a teen male, lost my sister Birdie last year. Birdie was 20 when she died. She had been diagnosed with cancer a year before her death. She knew she was dying, so she made a will for the very few things she had. It was mostly sentimental childhood stuff she had, old stuff, and she had a necklace that our dad bought her, stuff like that. It wasn't a lot, but she left it all to me. She also wrote a letter to me before she died. But anyway, I was the only person who got anything from Birdie. She left her grandparents, paternal, in charge of everything until I was 18, until I was out of Mom's house. The problem with this is Mom has other kids. Birdie and I lost our dad when we were both kids. Mom remarried. Neither of us cared much for Mom's husband. And when Mom had more kids, we didn't feel the same about them as we did each other. Birdie was more vocal. Well, I didn't say anything. Mostly I just didn't want to fight with Mom over it, and I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But Birdie and Mom never really got along, and it was only worse after Dad died and then Mom remarried. The fact Birdie left nothing for our half-siblings and never even wrote them a goodbye letter bothers Mom, and it upset them because they wanted to know why she wrote to me and left me her stuff, but not them. They wanted to read my letter, but I said no. It became a fight with Mom then, and she wanted to know why Birdie left the rest of the family nothing, and why, even when she knows she was dying, she couldn't find a way to embrace the other kids enough to give them something, a small goodbye. I showed Mom the letter because Birdie wrote a lot about her feelings and mentioned things she and I discussed when Mom wasn't around. I knew the letter would be a lot. Birdie said clearly she never loved or cared about the other kids at all and wanted me to know that she didn't want them to have anything, but if I felt differently and if I ended up loving them one day and wanted to give them something of hers, that she wouldn't be mad. Mom read the whole thing twice, if not 3 times, and then she asked me why I had shown her the letter and what I wanted her to do. She was so mad she was shaking, and she told me I was never to show my half-siblings. I pointed out that I had said no to them reading it already. Nothing else was said that day, but then my mom told me I was cruel for rubbing my sister's words in her face, and she wanted me to know she might never be able to forgive me. She told me forgiveness would be off the table if I ever breathed a word of this to our other kids. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She asked and didn't like the answer. That answer was not yours. It was Bertie's, and in her own words. I'm sure it stung like heck, but she asked. It's not right or fair for her to be mad at you for giving her what she wanted. Bertie had the right to do with her stuff what she wanted. It would be best not to show the letter to the others, ever. I would get copies and put the original letter somewhere safe until you can move into your own place in a few years. I'm just thinking, oh my Jesus, the mother sounds like she doesn't care at all that her child died and is more concerned about what she left to her other children that her child never really was close to. What is seriously wrong with this world? The mom was a piece of work, period. This lady consistently put all her other children's wants before the dying one. She's your classic, now that I have my do-over family, I don't give a crap about the starter kids, parent. The OP is not the idiot. I'm very sorry for the loss. I, male 32, am starting to feel uncomfortable when my girlfriend, 36, spends time with her guy friend. Am I in the wrong for feeling this way? My girlfriend met this guy on the same dating app that she and I found each other on, but she found him a couple of months before us. She said that they'd only kissed and didn't feel any romantic feelings for him, so they just stayed friends. She told me all this pretty early on in the relationship, but now that she's going out with him to the open-air cinema, and the other day I didn't get a message from her all day until the end of work, all I got was, "Sorry, been busy all day today. Gonna go meet up with my guy friend. Hope your date was good." Then no answer until she got back to her place about 1 o'clock in the morning. I confronted her, and now she turned it around, saying that I don't trust her, etc. And now I feel bad for sharing my feelings with her. Should I be worried? Do I feel jealous? I don't think anything's going on. It just feels weird to me. Am I a controlling idiot? Edit. She met him on a dating app, and now they're planning a project together for her work. She works with children, and he does some sort of art stuff that she wants him to come in and do stuff for work. They had a picnic outside on a big screen public cinema just after sunset. She had planned to go with me, then said a few days before she was too tired, then finally ended up going with this guy. Yikes! The prognosis ain't looking good, bro. You're not the idiot, but don't let her make you think you're controlling because you're not. A guy friend she met on a dating app is not to be trusted. It's not about you not trusting her. You don't trust him, and that's fair. Set your boundaries and stick to them. Boundaries are not you being controlling, no matter how much he may try to convince you it is. Dude, you're going to be second fiddle to this guy if she's not already banging him behind your back. It's one thing to have male friends, but it's a whole other deal when you plan a date with your boyfriend, cancel it, and then go on the same date with your friend. It's clear where you stand here. OP, listen, this is not what a respectful partner would do, at least if that's what your standards are for one. They've literally kissed before and went on what could be perceived as a date to some. Find someone who respects you, OP. You're cooked, buddy. Grow a spine and dump her. I, 25 male, blew up on my sister's 21, boyfriend, 24, after months of him constantly bragging about his Tesla. I met him a few months ago, and it seemed like his entire personality was his Tesla. I would say stuff like, "I have to stop at the gas station," and he would say, "What's that? I haven't heard about it in years," or make stupid comments that would lead back to him owning a Tesla Model 3. I didn't mind it at first, but then it became to the point where he was always bringing it up every time in conversation, and everyone seemed annoyed by it. I'm pretty successful in my career, selling one of my businesses for around low 8 figures a year ago, and started investing in low-risk investments. I've been living a modest life, own a small 3-bedroom house, starting another business in pest control, and own a 2023 Civic Sport that I paid for in cash. One thing I can't stand is someone bragging or being flashy about money. Today, my brother and I were talking about buying a car, and he came in and insisted on buying a Tesla because it's the future of cars. He was bragging about the entire thing and trying to convince my brother that even with the high price, it's worth it. It didn't bother me until he said, "Don't end up like your brother buying a Honda Civic. They're trash." I blew up at this point, telling him he didn't know what he was talking about. He wanted to look rich and pretend to be rich because he had a Tesla while living at his parents' house. I then proceeded to tell him that I had enough money to buy 10 of his Teslas in cash, and it's really not that impressive, but rather makes him seem like a moron trying to brag about buying a Tesla. If you wanted to pretend to be rich, you should back the talk instead of leasing a Tesla. This made him upset, and he left my parents' house immediately. Both my sister and parents are mad at me because he was trying to be helpful, and they thought I was being rude and bragging about my money. So am I the idiot for telling my sister's boyfriend nobody cares about his Tesla? Glad you've had success in your life. The Tesla guy's being a tremendous idiot. Calling him fake rich was an idiot move, though. No class at all. I understand he was making you angry, but that's the kind of petty crap you should seek to avoid. I would try to make amends and explain why the constant Tesla fanboying annoyed you so much. Also, OP, my guy, you can't say, hate when people brag about their money, and then make the entire post a humble brag about how successful you are. You kind of are a giant hypocrite, and you are the idiot. I have a Tesla is poor bragging, but don't end like OP is an attack. You can respond. You're not the idiot. In a normal situation, you would have just explained why you decided to go with the Honda, despite being able to afford the Tesla. But I understand being fed up with this guy. I disagree. You both are insufferable. Ignore Tesla guy. Nobody cares about your financial situation. If you weren't insecure, you wouldn't have listed your assets and just been secure enough to realize this is just a nerd who lives at his mom's, whom you shouldn't compare yourself to. Everyone's the idiot here. He was being a pompous, self-important brat. You reacted immaturely. No one is looking good in this story. Have a little class and don't punch down. Update. I apologize for being an idiot to my parents and sister. I would also like to apologize to people. I didn't mean to come off as bragging. I spent 6 years building out a service-based business that ended up becoming very niche and sold that to a larger public company for a mixture of stock and cash. I didn't mean to be an idiot or outburst like that. This came after months of annoyance and disrespect. The boyfriend's a real estate agent and college educated and would often make jokes about being better than other people and then backtrack on them. He looks down on people who didn't go to college and have hard-working jobs. I will not be apologizing to the boyfriend. Due to the past few months, he's been making comments about how starting a pest control company is a stupid idea and always trying to give financial advice, despite him actually not being qualified to give any advice. The attack didn't just come because of a Honda Civic, but because he told my brother it was a bad financial decision to get anything other than a Tesla in today's economy. I won't apologize to him because he viewed me as another broke person in his life. I feel terrible for bragging and putting him in his place, but I do not regret it because he deserved it.